Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something that absolutely shook the Hollywood community to its core. We're going to unpack the facts surrounding a truly horrific and heartbreaking incident that unfolded on the morning of June 3rd, 2026, right in the quiet suburban neighborhood of Tarzana, Los Angeles. We've got a lot of ground to cover, and getting the timeline and context right is absolutely crucial to grasping the full scope of this tragedy. So, let's get into it. Our story actually begins with a phone call. At around 9:30 in the morning, Los Angeles police dispatchers received a 911 call from a man who said, "I am the Son of Man. I just killed the man of sin." Just let that sink in for a second. It's a heavy, deeply biblical statement, and it instantly turned a quiet morning into a full-blown true crime investigation. So what exactly happened? Well, when officers arrived at the scene, they discovered a victim in the front yard. And it was a face you've very likely seen in theaters or on your TV screen at home. It was 81-year-old James Handy. He was a beloved character actor, found unconscious having suffered a fatal stab wound to the chest. They rushed him to a local hospital, but tragically, it was too late. He was pronounced dead. Section 1. Remembering James Handy, a decade-spanning Hollywood legacy. Before we talk about how he died, we need to talk about who he was. Born in New York City, Handy's screen career kicked off way back in 1977 on the ABC daytime drama Ryan's Hope. From there, his career just exploded. His talent kept him working steadily for nearly 50 years. He racked up well over 100 credits. You might recognize him as the exterminator in the 1995 Robin Williams classic Jumanji, or maybe as Arthur Devlin in Alias. He popped up in everything from NYPD Blue to The X-Files, and most recently, he charmed us all as the bartender Jimmy in the massive 2022 blockbuster Top Gun: Maverick. But James Handy was so much more than just a really impressive IMDb page. He was a deeply cherished friend and colleague. His agent called him a truly talented, humble, and gracious client. He was also a Vietnam veteran. Actually, his longtime friend Brian DeLate, who met him at a veterans theater company over 40 years ago, pointed out how particularly painful it is that someone who survived the brutal arena of war in the 1960s would have his life end this way. Another friend remembered him as just a hilarious, decent guy who loved belting out doo-wop songs at local bars. This was a vibrant life, completely cut short. Okay, moving to Section 2, the scene of the crime, June 3, 2026. Let's paint a picture of that morning. The incident happened at a home on the 1920 block of Irwin Street in Tarzana. Neighbors gave the police some critical details here. One neighbor, Johanna, told the press she actually heard arguments coming from the property the night before, and those arguments flared right back up that morning, right around 9:30 a.m. Shortly after that, Handy was found collapsed on the grass near the front gate. It looked like he had desperately tried to escape the property after being stabbed. Now, the immediate aftermath of this crime was highly unusual. The suspect didn't try to hide, he didn't flee the scene. First, he makes that incredibly disturbing 911 call we talked about. Second, he's actually caught on a Ring camera, just calmly walking along the sidewalk right after the fatal stabbing. And finally, when the LAPD rolls up to the scene, he actually flags them down. He freely admits he's the guy they're looking for and actively surrenders. Let's look at Section 3, the suspect and the context. Mental health and family dynamics. It is absolutely critical to understand the living dynamic at that house on Irwin Street. James Handy didn't actually live there full-time. He had his own home, but he was frequently there visiting his girlfriend. Now, the suspect, 44-year-old Michael Gledhill, is the son of Handy's girlfriend, and Michael lived on that exact same property, specifically out in a refurbished garage that his mom had fixed up for him. Can you imagine the nightmare Wendy Gledhill was thrust into, losing her partner allegedly at the hands of her own son? She spoke out to the press, and she was just in profound shock, apologizing to Handy's family. But crucially, she gave some much-needed context. She explained that her son Michael suffers from severe mental health issues, including schizophrenia, and that he had recently stopped taking his medication. Actually, Handy himself had casually mentioned to friends in the past that his girlfriend's son struggled with his mental health. Section 4. Facing justice, the legal fallout. The prosecution is centering on a few hard facts here. The first is 81. James Handy was 81 years old. This was a man who worked hard his entire life, served his country, entertained millions of people, and was ultimately killed right in his golden years. The second number we need to look at is 44. That's the age of the suspect, Michael Gledhill. He was swiftly booked into the Van Nuys jail on suspicion of 187 APG. That's murder. And prosecutors added a special allegation that he personally used a deadly and dangerous weapon, specifically a knife, to unlawfully and with malice aforethought end Handy's life. Because of the extreme severity of this crime, Los Angeles authorities weren't taking any chances. They set a massive bail amount to make absolutely sure Gledhill remained behind bars. His bail was set at a staggering $2 million. And what happens next? Well, if he's convicted as charged by the district attorney's office, Michael Gledhill is looking at a maximum sentence of 26 years to life in a state prison. LA County District Attorney Nathan J. Hochman came out with a very firm public statement about all this. He really emphasized the sheer tragedy of the situation, saying Handy absolutely deserved to enjoy his later years with his loved ones. He wrapped up his statement by making it crystal clear the person who violently took his life must be held accountable. But holding him accountable? Well, that immediately hit a massive, though maybe not completely unexpected, legal hurdle. When Gledhill was supposed to have his arraignment, he didn't even appear in the courtroom. His lawyer told the judge that his client was unable to assist in his own defense. So, looking at that documented history of schizophrenia, the judge ordered that the criminal proceedings be completely paused. Gledhill was sent straight to mental health court for thorough psychological evaluations. Now, a different judge is going to have to decide if he's even legally competent to stand trial for murder. Which brings us to the end of this explainer today, and I want to leave you with a question because this case is just so incredibly complex. We have a devastating loss of a Hollywood legend, a mother caught in the most unimaginable crossfire, and a suspect battling documented severe mental illness. The big takeaway here isn't just the timeline of what happened on June 3rd, it's about the profound mess that happens when untreated mental illness leads to irreversible violence. So how do we, as a society, possibly navigate this incredibly difficult intersection of psychological competency and criminal accountability? It's a heavy question, and it's one this case is going to be wrestling with for a long, long time. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.